Hey guys, this is part two of getting started. While I am doing more of the veg tube stuff, I forgot to say in the last video, if you actually like this more than, or if you want to see more of this, you may not like it more than the other stuff, uh, make sure to leave a comment or like the video as just kind of as a way to deal with the length of the live streams. So this time I'm going to head to the ship that's directly behind the base. You can kind of see the sands to the left there for a second. I'm just getting stuff to make my little pod. From the base, you can always make this run so you wouldn't really need it, but it's useful for when you go into the maze that's behind it, because even with your numbers, there's a lot of like dead ends. So if you don't exactly remember all the twists and turns you took, it just gives you a safe place to recharge your oxygen before you run out. So that's why I like to keep a little pod here. And then I tend to keep like one of those. I use the Windows sticky notes, and I just leave, well, I don't leave. I write down all the different places I've dropped all these like mini living compartments just to help with getting lost. Because you won't notice it now, but eventually you'll realize that your third number goes negative. And so if you think you're just running towards, this one's at 11:05, for example, you might be thinking, oh, I'm running straight to my base. But if it's negative 622, you're never finding your base. So I set it up, I basically rated everything, and now I'm just bringing my supplies back to base. So now that I'm back and I have some extra iron and titanium, I'm just adding more space because I know I'll need it as we get into tier 2 stuff. You just eventually start running out of room. And I like to go a couple compartments deep before I start going up, but that's just a preference. You can build it however you like. And as you can see, you don't need the frames. I'll eventually get frames down there. I mostly use them in the beginning just to make sure I'm high enough up that I won't clip into the ground, because it doesn't let you clip, so then you can't link your compartments up anymore. And I did the thing that I warned you guys about where you can't actually get through any of this. So I only have my one gap on the far side between the storage container and the heaters. So that is one thing that I did work on stream, is to get it set up in such a way that I can actually walk through here again. And I'm just checking like my progress for the O2 to decide what to prioritize. The agility that I just equipped is nice for, it speeds you up a little bit, and you get stuck less on the bumps and hills of what will eventually be places filled with water. Just makes it easier to not get stuck. The green stuff is uranium. You don't have to worry about that for a long time. You will randomly find it in ships, but it's a while before you get nuclear power. And then right now I know what I want to build, but I don't want to risk running out of aluminum. So I'm just kind of trying to figure out what all I have. Because tier 2 is when you start needing a lot of aluminum for the tier 2 solar panels and your tier 2 heaters. But as you can see, I have like one screen, so I know it takes like 1.3 kilowatts. So if I wanted multiple of the terraforming for some reason, I know I would need 1.3 left over if I don't want to kill the power grid. So right now, I haven't needed to go to the sand falls because when I went to that second ship, I got pretty lucky, and I've gotten a lot of iridium from the chest. But if you don't get iridium from the chest, that little area is the best place to get it until the ice starts to melt. And the whole reason the whole thing is shaking is there's meteors outside, but your first couple that will fall are mostly just going to be full of like iron and magnesium and titanium, which at this point I had enough of that I didn't run outside. And if it's one that happens naturally instead of when you, because you can eventually shoot rockets up into the air to bring down resources, uh, the stuff stays on the ground for a while. So don't feel like you have to run out the second they start hitting if you want to go gather resources. I think it's like a minute or two before it starts despawning. I'm deconstructing the heaters one just to give me back some of the resources to build more tier 2 heaters, but also to help me save power because I just now unlocked solar panel tier 2. As the ice melts, you'll want to note where the ice is, even though you can't get through it for a while, uh, just because it's going to be the where you get osmium, which will be important for I think it's tier 3 drills is usually the first thing you unlock that takes it. But those are nice. And the your miners will also take it. Actually, I think it's the miners, not the tier 3 drills. But the drills are nice because they do pressure and heat. So if you're short on anything, those are nice. And this is just me like trading out for the better multipliers. Just to speed up, even though I already have the oxygen going, it's just nice to keep it moving. Because future things are going to be like your labs are reliant on oxygen, so it's just a good thing to keep your multipliers and your oxygen growing. So as you can see, I've kind of cleared things up, and then I went back to building more solar panels. So for me, I put my tier 2 and like my power stuff back here, and my tier 3 items like the veg tube 3 has to go outside. Either the power stuff and things I don't want to look at, I will put behind, because when I unlock the windows, I like to put them on the front. That way I have the ocean view. So just keep that in mind when you're deciding where you want to put things, is that you will eventually, if you decide to put in windows, what do you want to look at? It just saves you having to move things a whole bunch of times. So I ran out and got ice so I could start making the veg tubes. In the beginning, it doesn't really matter what you put in the food growers. As you get more to like mid game, you'll want to make sure you have found at least one eggplant and one mushroom, because you will need that for crafting later. And then you'll obviously want a veg tube that is not, or not a veg tube, a food grower that is not either of those. That way you can start stockpiling them and you're not just standing there waiting for food to grow. It's just a trick that'll help save you time. You can't see it because I'm not far enough in the terraforming, but if you've just not had any luck with food seeds, when you go to a ship that's like directly behind me, where I set up my base, if you kind of go left and up into where you see that sandstorm, there is another big ship that's hidden in the sand out there. But if you don't have the highest oxygen tanks, I would definitely bring some oxygen with you, because you can't really see it until you're on top of it. But it's in that sandstorm back there. And the oxygen tanks will just give you some leeway. So I'm putting my drills down here, partially because I know that I can build down there. And the other reason is I don't want to see them. So when I finally get a lake, it'll be hidden. This is just kind of showing what the meteors are like. You'll see them kind of flying through. And they'll hit wherever. But you know you're getting close because you'll just see scattered rock everywhere. As you get farther along and get like more specialized rockets, like the uranium ones will glow green. If you send down the iridium ones, it'll glow red. I don't know if you can do anything for osmium. If you can, it would be blue. They're blue. So, and this is the other nice thing about having the supply pods. As you're collecting your meteors, if they happen to go down by one of your other ships, you have somewhere where you can dump stuff if your inventory gets full, and then you can go back out and get more stuff. But that'll be the end for part 2, and then part 3, I will show you where the easiest place to get aluminum if this is your starting crash site, and also if you're struggling to get stuff for tier 2 solar panels, where you can deconstruct some of those and bring them back, along with a very useful crate. So if you want to do that, stick around for part 3. Bye, guys!